We talked to Nail yesterday, and that's pretty much the message that we said to him. Like, look, maybe it's time for a fresh start here. You're a good kid. It didn't work out here, and really that's what I can tell you about that transaction.
Having watched last year, Peter, why didn't it work out after you were a year last year? What didn't work out with
I don't know if it's fair for me to assess why it didn't work out just by looking at 1 year, but I could see that there wasn't a fit. He's a young player who has skill and talent. I thought from what I saw the year before to what I saw this past year, I thought his game diluted. I mean, his strengths. I didn't think he were playing to his strengths, and there are other areas of his game that can improve and need to improve, and I'll leave it at that.
What was the importance level for you to get this done before the season started?
I don't know if that really made me do it yesterday. It was kind of a confluence of events that happened, and we took advantage of the opportunity of a team stepping up, of a player being available. So I think it was more about that.
So the two were hand in hand. Did you need to move the Yakupov money?
Cap-wise, no, Mark. No.
Done it,
Yeah.
It
made you know what, it was a nice little sidebar, convenient sidebar but no, it was something that presented itself at the same time, more or less the same time.
How much was it the team was going to take all the contract? A lot of days now you have to eat some of the contract.
At the end of the day, Jim, it was the deal we felt that was best for the organization, and it just so happened to take all the money on the contract.
Can you comment on why Kris Russell is a good fit, and maybe why you made the decision now when there was an option at one time, and maybe picking him up earlier?
Well, he's he just watching the skate this morning. I mean, the puck retrieval, the skating, the puck retrieval. It was a real. I think it was a need of our defensive core. I think we've made it significantly better this year, and adding Kris on top of that, I think rounds it out, makes it more diverse. And as far as what was the other question?
The timing of it.
Timing. Well, I've on and again, off again. I've had discussions from July on with Kris's representative, and I won't go into the specifics, Bob, but sometimes stuff happens in the market. Sometimes players have preferences, and I think it was a little bit of both.
There's a lot made of the right shot defenseman, left shot, which seems to be in vogue today, but he's a left shot guy, and everybody keeps saying you need a right shooting. Do you feel you have enough defensemen that can move from left side to right side?
Well, I do like the righty lefty, and but I also know that he can play both, and Reggie can play both. I think adding Adam Larsson to that top part really helped that issue. So I think I'm satisfied with him playing either side, with Reggie playing either side. But I do like that paradigm, and but there's not a lot of teams that have that complete righty lefty.
You made some high-profile moves since you've been here. You obviously have a comfort level with that. Where does that come from?
So like high profile, like trading two first number one picks. Yeah. Well, I mean, we try and address issues. We try and address needs, and then you try and fix them. So sometimes hard decisions, and yes, we've traded profile players since I've been here, but I know it's for the betterment of the team, and we want to make the playoffs. So we want to win the Stanley Cup, and we have some good young players, and that's part of the recipe, and that's part of the reason why I'm in this chair, is to make those decisions.
You have a D and a winger on PTOs, and you moved out a winger and added a D. Does that affect?
Again, we're in an evaluation process for both Kris and Eric. Eric's not out there today. We gave him a day off. He's exploring other options. He's still with us. As far as Kris goes, Kris is still a little dinged up, and and again, still evaluating. So, haven't made any decisions yet.
Can you tell us where you're at with Griffin Reinhardt? I mean, that was another big splash kind of you made last summer, and now he's been sent to Bakersfield.
He's still a young player, and for me, he had a disappointing camp, and we told him stuff he has to work on. Our D is better, so it's a bit of a rising tide also, and he's got to be better. And we had a hard discussion with him, but he was very receptive to it. He's got to go down there and play more assertively, and I know that he can.
Peter, a lot of the analytics people don't like Kris Russell because they say all he does is block shots, which means he's not moving the puck. But you see some of the same size as, say, a Ferentz without the edge that Andrew had. Some sort of defensive type.
You know, like there's the analytics approach to D-men that can work both ways, and you know it's good information to use. And what we see in Kris was a player who can really transport the puck, and who can retrieve pucks and make plays. And we felt we needed the speed to our lineup, especially retrieving pucks, and that's why we added him. I'll work on this side now. Hold on.
With Nurse, a young guy still, you add in another veteran. Where does he fit in? How important is the game? Do you expect him to be in your starting lineup?
I think he's on track, and I felt he was playing a little higher than he should have last year. So for me, he's had a good camp, not a great camp, but I like him tucked in that third pair right now. And again, we'll continue to evaluate that, but as it stands right now, I see him in that slot.
Peter, are you prepared to have, say, if Mark Stevens not in your top six, to have a player making that kind of money not in your top six?
It's not ideal, and again, something we'll still continue to evaluate. We've had a couple of good performances by the younger D also, and nothing's carved in stone, so we still got a few days left to look at the whole situation.
What's the situation with Versteeg being injured and him being on a PTO? Is there a deadline that you guys set?
Not really. I mean, there is PTO expires, but I mean, there's been a lot of instances. New Jersey's done it a lot of times where you just have a player and he works out with you, and you basically evaluate and as the season progresses, and it's a mutual understanding. But so there's no tie, but it has to be a mutual agreement.
Has Benning surprised you a lot since you drafted him in Boston and in his growth?
You know, I've seen his growth every year, and it's been very good each year. The increments. I thought he's had a real strong camp. He's such a smart player. So, did it surprise me a little bit? But I knew where he was coming from, and I knew where he was at. I saw him a lot in Boston, and he's had a strong camp. So he's a contender.